feel like as you get older, time flows by faster? Well, there's actually math behind this. So your first year, that's 100% of your life. But your second year, that's only half of your combined first and second year. So it's 50% of your perceived life. Your third year is a third of your perceived life. Your fourth year is a fourth of your perceived life, and so on. Now I'm 17. This year is only a 17th of my perceived life, and suddenly it's going to be a 50th, and time's going to run out. Time runs out very quickly, and that's reminded me that every second is really precious, because you think that there's an infinite number of seconds in the world until they're all gone. I used that to guide me this year. Every second I was watching a pointless YouTube video, a cat video, anything like that, I turned it off, recognized that my seconds are limited, and did something more important. And that is how I've made 2016 an incredibly successful and packed with adventure year. Here's what happened. I started off the year at Navy Pier watching the New Year's fireworks to bring on 366 new days. Went back home for 4 weeks for school and rehearsal, and then was whisked back off just for a second to Chicago for a trip with the orchestra and band. Once I got back, I played Camillo in The Winter's Tale. That was a lot of lines. Then right after that, right after the play was over, I wrote an article about racial disparities in Madison, Wisconsin that got read by over 10,000 people worldwide. And YGB, the local Black Lives Matter movement in Madison, recognized that article, saw that article, and contacted me and said, hey, how about you be our blog writer and email writer? And I did that for like a couple hours a week from then in March up until today. And it's been great to work with them and help out the movement. At about the same time, I applied for an internship at Atlas Obscura, a really cool, pretty popular website about the world's hidden wonders. And they said to me, well, that's only for college students, only college students can be interns, but how about we actually hire you as a place writer to write articles for the website? So from that moment on, I wrote 3 articles spending 10 hours a week for Atlas Obscura about different cool places worldwide. So far I've written over 100 articles, and it's taken up every afternoon of mine for the entire year, but it's been really cool to write for such an awesome website. In between writing articles for Atlas Obscura and working for YGB, I found the time to meet Dean Strang, one of the lawyers from Making a Murderer. And then I spent a minute in New York traveling with the Student Voice Union to explore Harlem, which was really cool. Then I took a Greyhound bus by myself to North Carolina, where I found this really cool natural water slide. And then, once I got back, I pepped up the crowd at a Bernie rally. Feel the burn! In April, me and a group of friends founded this conference on racial disparities, and it was a really big deal. It brought together like 150 students from the Dane County, Madison area, and we talked about racial disparities in education for like 8 hours. It was a really powerful moment. Then for 2 weeks, I welcomed Pierre, my French exchange student. He was really good at playing the drums, he had a cool accent, and he actually looked a lot like me. Then I did epic rap battles of high school.
Calm down, Sonny, I don't think you understood. You're no good, never could. Blockwood, ooh, that's pretty good.
With some of my friends. And then I was part of this class called Social Justice Forum, which was like a social justice theater type class, and we did some performances in local middle schools. Finally, the school year ended and I got my driver's license, and then I did probably the scariest experience of my life. I spent 2 weeks with a family I didn't know in the middle of the south of France, speaking only French 24/7 and traveling all around. It was a scary experience, but it was probably one of the coolest experiences of my life. I love France. Once I got back from France, I went to APT for a weekend camp to learn about theater, and then I wrote this article. 31 of Wisconsin's 56 black neighborhoods are actually jails. That's a true fact, and it's kind of terrifying, but I wrote the article and it actually went viral again, just like my other article back in February. And what I hope is that that article makes people realize that racial incarceration disparities are a real problem. At about the same time that I wrote that article, we moved into a brand new house, and then I was a camp counselor at a theater camp with a bunch of cute little kids. That weekend, I traveled up north 30 minutes to see Dr. Evermore's Forevertron, which is the world's largest scrap metal sculpture. And then that night, we drove out to Chicago and flew to LA, drove to Las Vegas to check out this really cool neon boulevard, went through the Valley of Fire with a bunch of cool red rocks, and then we went to Zion National Park, where I hiked through a river, climbed a few waterfalls, and then I went 2,500 vertical feet. After descending that gigantic 8-mile hike, we went to the beautiful, narrow Antelope Canyon Slot Canyon, and then we went to the Grand Canyon, then Sedona, and then we drove Route 66 through Arizona and California for 2 straight days, checking out the kitschy old sights from the old Mother Road. After flying back from Los Angeles, I quickly edited a film for the Social Good Summit of Madison, and then I went to get some cool vegan food in Minneapolis and checked out the world's largest truck stop in Iowa. Helped preserve the Ice Age Trail, celebrated 1 year of veganism, and made a really sick basketball shot. I was in a play called Selfie, which was really fun, and then unfortunately my dog Jackie died, but we got 2 new collies named Veda and Rose, and they're very adorable. As you could guess, this year has been incredibly productive and amazingly fun. And the reason is because I recognize that our seconds are limited and we need to use every minute to the fullest to make every year count. 2016 has been the best year of my life, and I can't wait for 2017.